Hello everyone. What you see on the screen right now is the gazebo that's been up at the crematorium for some weeks for funerals. As you can see, there are 10 chairs equally spaced from each other, at least 2 meters apart, and the hearse would pull up along the drive behind and pull in under the porch, and the coffin would be unloaded onto a trolley and would then be placed prominently under the porch in front of the doors of the chapel. And then I, a number of times, too many times in these last weeks, have been with between 3 and 10 people, just quietly gathering for a maximum of 10 minutes under that gazebo to remember a loved one who has died. It's all felt woefully inadequate. It's all felt as much as we've done the best that we could, both families, myself, the crematorium staff and the undertakers that I worked with for many years across the city who deeply care about the service that they offer. What we've done has been not nearly enough to tell anybody's story with any great efficacy or to any real satisfaction for anyone. So this morning's video is quite simply an invitation and an offer. The Methodist Church in Haxby and Wigginton underwent some substantial renovations a couple of years ago. And we have a porch. If you've seen it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But across from Haxby Pond, the porch of our church runs around the front of the building as an entrance and has glass on 3 sides. And what we want to offer to the whole of the Haxby and Wigginton community is the opportunity to provide us with a name, perhaps with a photograph, which would be helpful, and with just a year of birth of anyone that you would like to have remembered, who's died during this coronavirus time, from the beginning of March onwards really, because already funerals were affected by people's vulnerability to attend them from that early on. Those don't have to be people who lived in Haxby and Wigginton, they don't have to be people who were anywhere nearby, but in every way that anyone in our community has been affected by death during this time. We'd like to help us all to remember those names and those faces by creating a sort of a wall of remembrance using the glass in our porch. So what we're going to do is, when we receive a name and a year of birth and a photograph preferably, is to very simply just place those neatly onto an A4 sheet of paper, 1 sheet per person, so we can have the photographs nice and big, and to then stick those on the inside of the glass as much as we need to around the front of the chapel, so that anyone who wants to can go and have a look at the faces of those who've died and know that someone in the community is grieving that person and that little bit of their story. If anyone wants to add a little sentence that says something like "remembered by" and just offer some names after that, you're very welcome to do that. But we're not going to have the space to have eulogies or anything much more than that personal information, who that person is and who they're remembered by. And we're also hoping to get some buckets and have some buckets available. They won't be glamorous, they won't be beautiful, but to have some buckets available across the front of the porch with water in, so that if you or anyone would like to place some flowers into those buckets as part of remembering someone that you knew who died, or just as part of what we see happening in so many places around the country and the world when someone dies and the community wants to remember that. If you want to bring some flowers as part of sharing in the pain of others and placing them into those buckets, which we'll keep topped up with water, then you're very welcome to do that. This is not about anyone being Christian or not. This is not in any way about religious affiliation, beliefs, thoughts, ideas. It has nothing to do with that. We just want as a church to say, we have this space. How can we use it, and how can that be part of us remembering together that there is a particular pain to this season for lots of people and lots of families, and that is the death of a loved one, near or far, the inability to attend a funeral, the sadness of not being able to say goodbye. For some people, the desperately hurried goodbye as someone climbs into an ambulance, never to come home again. There is ongoing pain that will take a long time beyond coronavirus for people to work out as individuals and for us to hold as a community. There's a lot of grieving to do. There's a lot of sadness. And in as much as that has touched our community's life, we want as a church to say, please help us to help you and everybody to remember those names and those faces, because they matter. They will always matter, but they matter particularly now because each of them has not had the opportunity to have those who love them and who want to remember them gather and tell stories and laugh and cry and hug and drink tea and eat cake and celebrate and mourn someone's death. So that invitation is a little bit parochial. If you're not part of Haxby and Wigginton community, then this isn't really something that we want to offer just to everybody, because that would dilute the fact that this happens in a local community and we're using a local space to share something of our local story. But in every way that, if you're watching this, the community you live in, if that's not Haxby and Wigginton, might be able to do something similar in partnership with any other organization, with a shop front, let's find ways of looking at faces and having names attached to them and remembering those who've died. Pass this on to anyone you'd like to. Share the idea with anyone you'd like to. And if anyone has anything they'd like to contribute, you're welcome to contribute to myself through the email address that is at the end of this video, as it always is, as well as, and there's a separate email to that, to Sarah, our church administrator, who has a church administrator's email address, because she'll be doing the bulk of the work of arranging those pages and then helping us to stick them up. I hope we don't run out of space. There's quite a lot of space there, but who knows how long this will continue and how much sadness we will want to somehow hold in that space across from the pond. So that's today's video, an invitation, an opportunity. I've sent a letter, or I will be sending a letter later today to the schools, to the other churches in our villages, to both parish councils, and I've invited them as well to share that as widely as they would like to within our community, so that we can hold that memory together. And if you yourself have lost someone and that's hard for you, then again, if you don't have anywhere else to go, or you think that a conversation might be particularly helpful at this time with a complete stranger or someone outside of your regular life, then you're welcome to contact me. I will not get Jesus-y on you. The point is not for me to somehow slip the story of God into every conversation I have. I am set aside to listen and to be with people in their lives as they are. And if you feel you can trust me, or you'd like to take a chance and do that, and it would just be helpful either by video link or just on the telephone to have some conversation about the particular sadness you carry and why, then please be in touch. And I'd love to be there for you as soon as I can and in whatever way that I can. So there's something perhaps for us to do together. How we come out of coronavirus and do something more in a building or on Ethel Ward, on the playing field, how we gather to read out those names, to remember those people as a community, is something that we can talk about closer to the time. And I've raised those conversations already, as I say, in a letter that will go to the parish councils and the other churches and organizations in the village who may want to contribute to that. But for now, we have a gallery space. We have a space we can use in the Methodist Church's life that we'd like to offer for this purpose. So please take us up on that, and let's share the sadness of this season as much as we can in that space. God bless you. And I hope to hear from as many of you as feel you would like to, as we share that remembering together.